How much do we actually know about Iran?
You can turn back now or learn the stuff they don't want you to know.
Hello, thanks for tuning in. That is Matt behind the camera. I'm Ben, that makes this Stuff They Don't Want You to Know. This week, Matt and I covered secret nuclear weapons programs across the world. Oh, excuse me, alleged secret nuclear weapon programs across the world. We're talking about the stuff that later came to light in North Korea, Pakistan, Israel, and other countries. You can learn more about it on the episode that we re-released on Monday. You can learn about a nuclear weapons test, alleged nuclear weapons test called the Vela incident in our episode on Wednesday. And today we wanted to close out by talking about Iran, because how can we talk about nuclear weapons or the race for nuclear weapons in this day and age without talking about Iran? Well, let's start before we go into our top 5 things that they don't want you to know about Iran and nukes. Let's give some background, because most people don't know anything about Iran, and it's frightening that a country could pop up in the news so much and people, at least in the States, could know so little about it. So just for size comparison, Iran's pretty big. It's about 4% smaller than Alaska, which is the largest state in the US. So let's get more specific. That's 636,000 square miles for you folks in the United States. And that's 1,648,000 square kilometers for everyone else. Let's go back to the United States. If you live in the US, when you hear the word Iran or, Iran or whatever, then you probably think of nuclear weapons instead of, Persian rugs or kebabs or ancient empires or anything like that. But what are the things that we don't know or that they don't want us to know about Iran? Let's start with our top 5. In no particular order of importance, let's start with 5. The most recent agreement between Iran and 6 world powers in 2013. It didn't stop Iran's nuclear program. It halted parts of it. They promised not to build new centrifuges, which are necessary for enriching uranium, and they did this in exchange for a partial lifting and some pretty severe sanctions and the return of some cash that had been frozen internationally. 4. War with Iran could have devastating economic consequences, not just for Iran, of course, but for other countries involved, specifically the United States. We have already, we being the United States, not Matt and I specifically, backed other sides in wars against Iran. Iran repelled and survived these attacks, but these came at an enormous human cost for both sides. These were bloody wars. Why would it have devastating economic consequences, you ask? Excellent question. It's because of a thing called the Strait of Hormuz, which is this really skinny body of water where about 20% of the world's oil supply comes from. And who can shut this down whenever they want with some strategic missile batteries? Oh, that's right, Iran. 3. According to Iran, at least, Iran is not trying to build a nuclear weapon. Now, of course, this could all be international pillow talk, but this could also be a strategic ambiguity kind of thing. Strategic ambiguity comes from the idea that it's better not to let your enemies know exactly what you're doing, and it's also true that the process for enriching nuclear material for peaceful purposes is pretty similar to the process for enriching to build a bomb. It can be pretty difficult to tell what those centrifuges are spinning for, unless, of course, you have experts who travel to the facilities themselves, which was part of that agreement. Oh, but wait, you know who else thought that Iran was not on the verge of creating a nuclear weapon? Pretty much every US intelligence agency. So regardless of some of the rhetoric we hear that Iran is always, 1 year away or 2 years away, every 2 years they're another 2 years away, the fact of the matter is that according to our intelligence gathering organizations, Iran's not in the game. They had a weapons program and they had a warhead program, and both of these, according to US sources, were halted in the early 2000s. Number 2, and Matt, you and I will just say this is interesting, okay? There are interesting allegations that some US companies you guys may have heard of, cough, cough, Halliburton, cough, may have, through some proxies, helped Iran build this nuclear capacity that has become such a huge problem in the international sphere today. What? And if you'd like to read more about those allegations, we do encourage you to check out some of the links. Maybe I can post them on our social media when this video comes out. One, and this might not be the most important point, but it is one of the elephants in the room. Is Iran an aggressor state? In one sense, yes. Clearly, Iran funds Hamas, Iran funds Hezbollah, Iran has a vested interest in becoming a regional hegemon of the Middle East. Iran also has some enemies that you hear about almost anytime Iran's mentioned, right? And those enemies would be the United States, they would be Israel, and they would be, wait for it, Saudi Arabia, which still surprises me that other people don't know that Saudi Arabia and Israel would actively work together to stop Iran from becoming even more of a threat. And of course, as we know, Iran has a fairly extensive history of invading other countries. Or was that? I might be getting that last one mixed up. But bad jokes aside, one of the points here is that this might not be a situation where there are stark good or stark bad guys, or the moral absolutism, because it's fairly apparent that there's a lot of stuff Iran doesn't want people to know about its weapons program. Oh, excuse me, cough, cough, peaceful program. Let's call it its ambiguous nuclear program. So we're going to come back to this. We'd like to know what you think about the future of Iran and the Middle East. Will there be a war? Why will there be a war? Will Iran ever develop a nuclear bomb? And how much of what you're hearing about this conflict seems like the truth to you? Let us know in the comments. So that's it. Thank you so much for watching. As always, we certainly appreciate it. If you have a comment, we'd love to hear from you at the thread below. Go ahead and like our video, make it official. You can subscribe if you wish. And if you want to check out some more videos, just we should have a row of them over here through the magic of post-production. And stay tuned for next week when we talk about cryptography and cicada.